Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Got a new Cardfight Vanguard video for you guys today. I wasn't going to do this video, but I had to share it. Guys, I think I finally cracked the code on new Bavsargra. You guys have been watching the channel, watching the streams. You guys know Bavsargra is my favorite deck in Standard. It has been since I first got my hands on it. I really enjoy it, and I've been trying to tweak it to keep up. I think I finally figured it out after messing with it for quite a while. So as always, we'll go through the deck, talk about the card choices, some of the new effects, and then we'll jump into a game. If you guys enjoy this kind of content, drop a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Let's jump in and check it out. So up for first, we have the Bavsargra ride line. You kind of have to run the Bavsargra ride line. They don't really make it easy to switch with the way this deck works. So grade 1, Arhinsa, you actually have to run Arhinsa. So you're basically telling everybody what you're playing as soon as you flip over your starter. Because of what Steel Blaze Dragon Nemekar does, when you ride Nemekar over Arhinsa, you Soul Blast 1, you search your deck for either Sealed Blaze Sword Prithivi or Sealed Blaze Shield Swayambu, reveal it, put it into your hand. As you guys can see from the build, we're not playing Prithivi, so you're basically just searching Swayambu. It's nice because it basically pays for your own ride, which is kind of why this ride line was so good for so long. It basically erases the cost of having to discard for a ride. If you go second, you get to search and you get to draw, so it's always been kind of nice. Ali Badra, you discard for ride, and then you can add an arm from your drop back to your hand. So usually you'll discard the shield that you just added first turn, get back the shield, or if you have the axe, you can get back the axe. Like, it's a solid ride line. It doesn't do anything once you ride into Bavsargra, but it's because Bavsargra in herself was actually always a pretty solid card because of her arms. Bavsargra says, auto Vanguard once per turn. When this unit is armed, Soul Charge 1, choose a grade 1 or less from your drop, call it to rearguard. Act Vanguard once per turn. If this unit is armed with 2 or more cards, Soul Blast 2, retire all of your opponent's front row rear guards, and this unit gets critical, +1 until end of turn. So, let's jump into the rest of the deck. We've got our 3 Persona Rides. Persona Ride is kind of a hit or miss in this deck. You don't super need it, because it's just 10k to the front row and you have a lot of units that gain their own power, but it definitely helps to get that extra 10k. We've got our main beat stick, Seal Blaze Dragon Dishtia. When this unit is placed on rearguard, Soul Blast 1, look at the top 7 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 card with the Dress Boost ability and up to 1 arms card each from among them, reveal them, choose up to 1 card from among the revealed cards, put it into your hand, and discard the remaining shuffle the deck. Basically, this helps you thin out the deck and get your combo pieces where you want them. In some cases, you want your dress boosters in the drop. In some cases, you want them in your hand. Same with the arms. A lot of times you want them in your hand, but sometimes you want them in the drop. And you'll see why as we get into more of the deck. And then when this unit attacks a grade 3 or greater unit, if your Vanguard has 2 or more arms, this unit gets plus 10,000 power until the end of that battle. This card's been good since it came out. It's just, it sucks because you have to play a lot of targets for it, because I've whiffed that top 7 so many times. This is our new card. Seal Blaze Dragon Apollara. So auto, when this unit is placed on rearguard from hand, if you have a Vanguard with Sealed Blaze in its card name, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 card with the Overdress ability or Dress Boost ability, or up to 1 arms card from among them, and discard it and shuffle your deck. Basically all the same targets of Dishtia. Auto drop, when your Vanguard is armed, Energy Blast 3, call this card to rearguard and it gets power plus 5,000 until end of turn. So I thought this card was really bad. I still honestly think it is, but it's what they gave us, and I decided to mess around with it and see if I could come up with something that actually worked, and I think I nailed it. So I don't like that its first effect is restricted to only when it's called from hand. Where you call from hand, you check top 5, you dump a card. Considering it's got restrictions on the targets you can dump and it only dumps, it doesn't add anything to hand, I don't see why this had to be just when called from hand, especially when its second effect calls it from the drop. I think it would actually be a decent card if you could keep on milling every time you called it from the drop, but it is what it is. PGs. So Blaze Maiden and Cindy. Blaze Maiden and Cindy is a really important card for this deck. So Blaze Maiden and Cindy, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Nirvana or Bavsargra in its card name, put this card into your soul. Choose up to 1 card with Overdress, Cross Overdress, or an arms card from your drop and put it into your hand. This skill is good in this deck for a couple of reasons. Besides the fact that it works on Veralord and your arms, it just goes to soul, so it just gives you +1 soul, which is really important for Bavsargra's second skill, the Soul Blast 2. You always want to make sure you have enough soul to be able to use that skill every turn. I know it's just a retire the front row and a crit, but that really helps with Bavsargra's pressure. And then it has a second skill. Auto drop when a unit with Trick Star or Trick Moon in its card name is placed on rearguard by your grade 3 or greater Vanguard's ability other than during the battle phase. If you do not have a rearguard with the same name as this card, you may call this card to rearguard. Basically, you arm Bavsargra, she soul charges 1, she calls a grade 1 or lower from the drop, so you call Trick Moon, and then Cindy automatically calls herself out as well. At worst, that's a 33k line. At absolutely worst. I'm actually going to skip Verilord. I'm going to talk about him after I talk about Trick Moon. We're playing one Galnet. We had one flex spot. I might swap this for like maybe defensive roar. I really like defensive roar, but I also like the flexibility of Galnet. You can guard with it and then call it back out with Bavsargra and still draw an extra cards because of how much you soul blast in the deck without actually having to use the soul resource. So I kind of like having Galnet in here. When you play it on rearguard or Guardian Circle, you can send 2 cards from your soul or your drop that were in your ride deck back to the ride deck face up, and either if it's called to rearguard, you draw a card. If it's called to the Guardian Circle, gains 50,000 shield. Solid card. Trick Moon. This is our main countercharger, though we don't really need to use it that much because this deck doesn't counterblast nearly as much as it used to. When this unit is placed on your back row center rearguard from drop, countercharge 1, and then dress boost. When this unit boosts, the boosted unit gets plus 10,000 power until end of the battle for each of your each card your Bavsargra is armed with. So normally you're gonna have 2 cards on Bavsargra, so it'll gain plus 20k. So it's a 25k booster. It's a huge ass booster. And then of course, main countercharger. It also really helps with numbers because whatever unit it boosts is gonna gain that 25. It doesn't have to be Bavsargra. It just depends how many arms she has on her. And then Verilord. Verilord. I did not think this is what the deck needed, but considering this deck has become so drop zone focused, this card has actually become better. For one, this unit cannot be chosen by card effects, so guess what? This works on decks like Shiranui. They would have to call a different card from your drop to be able to dominate your units if you have a field full of these guys. I know that sounds weird, but it's better that than just auto losing. It overdresses over Trick Moon. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. It doesn't need to be overdressed to get that skill though, that first skill. Auto, when this unit is placed on rearguard by the overdressed ability, counterblast, choose up to 2 arms cards from your hand or drop, arm 1 to your Vanguard from among them, and put the rest into your soul. Obviously it gets you soul, it gets you an arm. Another reason this is important, it can let you arm from the drop, or say I arm the hammer. Normally, you can only play 1 order per turn. The spear lets you dodge that. Again, we'll get into the specifics in a second. But if you say I have to arm the hammer, so that's all I got. I can force arm something else with Verilord's skill, so I can still play the game. And then they have their own version of Dress Boost. When this unit boosts in the overdressed state, all your front row gets plus 5,000 power until the end of turn for each card your Vanguard is armed with. So basically, if you have 2 arms, your front row is getting 10k. Now, a lot of people didn't like that at first because they think you're losing power. Technically, you're losing a little bit of power on the Vanguard swing, but you're gaining power on the rearguard swing. So it actually nets you more cards that your opponent has to drop. So Iombu, you arm it with a counterblast 1. When the armed unit is attacked, you can once per turn just gain 10,000 power. So it just becomes a free 10,000 shield you can use every turn. Aditya, arm it with a counterblast 1. When this unit is armed, you get to draw a card, and you're allowed to play an additional arm that turn. That's why the spear has always been so important, because it lets you arm twice in 1 turn, and you want to be able to arm twice on turn 3. During your turn, the arm unit gets plus 10,000 power. Surya, when this unit is armed, you choose one of your opponent's back row rearguards and retire it, and your Vanguard gets 10,000 power until end of turn. This is the only right side arm that only gives 10,000 when it's armed. Normally, the sword, the spear, they give 10,000 continuously during your turn. This one does not, so keep that in mind. But this one also lets you hit back row, because normally Bavsargra only hits the front row as far as retires. And then its second skill is, at the end of your turn, put this card into the drop. Choose a card with right deity arms ability and a different card name from this card from your drop, put it to your hand. Basically, you pop this, you get to add a spear from the drop to your hand. It gives you follow-up, and since this only gives you 10k when you arm it, and it retires only when you arm it, it's good to just get rid of it. The axe, this is probably my favorite of the arms. To Veshtar. Never got the name of that one right. This is a left side arm. During the battle that your Vanguard attacked, when your opponent would call cards from their hand, they must call 2 or more at the same time. Basically, they can't just perfect guard Bavsargra, they have to drop an additional card. So with a normal perfect guard, that's 3 cards out of hand they have to drop. Obviously, Elementari dodges that, but there's only one of those in the deck. And then second skill is at the end of your turn, counterblast 1 to put this card into the drop. Choose a card with the left DD arms ability and a different card name from this card from your drop and arm it to your Vanguard. Basically, you would counterblast 1, pop off the axe, arm the shield, so that way you have defense on the following turn. And then, of course, we have Elementary Sanctitude. And then for our trigger lineup, we went with Drag Veda because this is a Vanguard, a huge Vanguard that swings with a crit. We want to be able to restand, swing with another crit. Front triggers, though, I have thought about changing them out for draw triggers just because there's still a lot of combo pieces you want to see. But I'm really liking the extra defense for the front triggers. And again, making your columns even bigger really helps. 8 crit, because this is a crit Vanguard. We want to be able to swing at our opponent at 2 to 3 damage and just nuke them. And then, of course, 4 heals. So this is the deck. As I made mention, it's become a much more drop zone reliant deck. You basically want to dump cards with Divstia, you want to dump cards with Apolara, and then you want to be able to get them back with Cindy or Verilord. So you're thinning out the deck while being able to get your combo pieces back. So I'm really excited to show you guys this. So enough from me. Let's go jump into a game. All right, we got a game and it looks like we're going first. With this hand, I'm going to send a lot of this back. Actually, I think I'm going to send the whole hand back. It wasn't really... I guess we have our spears. All right, let's discard Trick Moon for... Yeah, we'll discard Trick Moon. Write our grade 1. Skill of the grade 1. We're going to Soul Blast 1. And we will add our shield to hand. Oh, we're playing against Impaldio. Ooh. We might have the advantage here just because of our sheer numbers. This might be good for us, but we'll see. We're gonna take this. We want at least 1 or 2 counterblasts going into our turn 3. We need to be defensive. We can be defensive next turn. All right, now we're going to discard to ride, and now Holly Bodge's skill gets back the shield. And now go to main phase. Call Divstia. Divstia's skill. Soul Blast 1. Check top 7. We'll add Verilord to hand. We already have a setup for Verilord with the Trick Moon. So now we'll go battle phase, swing. I fucked up. It's alright. I made a boo-boo there. I should have swung rear guard first. Just in case I hit a trigger, then I still gotta push through the guard. That was my mistake. They're just not gonna put the card back? It's fine, they can have the extra card. Baffling, but okay. This card's good. This card makes this deck go. I really like this grade 1. I thought this grade 1's a great addition to the deck. We don't need extra damage. Though 28 is pretty hefty, so I'll probably just take that one. All right, we got enough to do just about everything now. Ooh, that was a good top deck too. All right, I think I'm gonna ditch a spear here just because we have so many. And then we're gonna ride grade 3. Go to our main phase. We have 1 card in soul, so we don't want to touch the soul if we can avoid it. So we're gonna play our grade 2 here. Skill. Top 5. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. Because here's what we're going to do here. We're going to counterblast one. We're going to arm a spear. Spear skill. We're going to draw. We can arm an additional time this turn. So what we're going to do is we're going to use Bavsargra. Soul Charge 1. Call. Skill. Countercharge. Then we're going to overdress. And then overdress, we'll put the spear into the soul, and we'll arm the axe. I made a boo-boo. I should have discarded the shield. Fuck. That was my bad. Now, the reason I said I should have discarded the shield, not the spear, is because I'm going to Soul Blast for Bavsargra. And I would have had the shield back in the drop. But because I didn't discard it for a ride, I don't have it for my axe skill. Now we get our crit, we're getting our power. This has power plus 10 on it. I'm trying to think if there's a way I can discard the shield now. I guess I could have armed the shield first and then did Verilord, but it's too late now. I fucked up. It's all right. Battle phase. We're gonna boost skill 10k to the front row, and then swing. Two cards to guard. So they have to. So if they want a PG, they have to guard with another card, and they still have to discard for that. All right, twin drive. First check, second check. No triggers. All right, now we'll go 20k to 20k. Oh, I fucked up. You gotta play weird with Paldio. I should have swung with this first. It's all right. I'm learning. This is literally just matchup knowledge. So, should have swung with the smaller column first because he got 5k and then he hit a trigger. Though I was assuming that I was gonna hit a trigger or that he wasn't gonna hit a trigger. So that was just luck of the draw. Because if I got a trigger, I would have gave it to Apollara, so that way that was a bigger number. And then if he got a trigger, I still would have been able to hit. But it is what it is. Now I'm not mad that I have these shield in hand because I still can use the axe next turn. I would just like the 10k defense for this turn. We got to be defensive this turn because his next turn's probably gonna be a little bit crazier. Now I can get Swambu back into the drop with my perfect guard. I have a 20k shield in hand with the cat, and I have a heal trigger. And then the grade 1, I don't mind putting in the drop because I can get that back off of my skill as well. So we're doing okay. I also want to intercept with my grade 2 so I can call it back with plus 5k. Or I can call out Dipstia. So we'll see where this goes. Fermo's gain 10k. This will gain 15k. Wow, sorry, 5k because he only has 4 automatic gauges. And this will have a drive check if he decides to pay the cost. Now the easiest one to guard here would probably be the Vanguard. So we're probably going to hard guard the Vanguard and take the PG for one of the rear guards. Oh no, they're using Divine Skill. Alright. I'm a little surprised. I think it's a little bit early for that. So let me see if I can 3 to pass this. This will put me to 33, 38. So 33, 48. So yeah, that works. We'll guard with that. Send these back to deck. 33, 48, 3. One, 2, 3, and 4. 1 trigger. Alright, so this is the one we're going to guard. Okay, so they're pumping it up, and I'm assuming they're going to use this to get another trigger. Yep, they are using the skill. Okay. 1 drive check. Okay, 1 damage. Nice. And then this, we will... Perfect guard. I would have really liked a Persona ride there, but it is what it is. So we'll go to main phase. Now, what do I want to do here? How do I want to do this? Alright, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to counterblast 1 to arm a spear. Spear skill. We draw a card. Looking at what we have here, we'll go Bavsargra, Soul Charge 1, and we'll call Varalord. Call it here. Now we have our 2 soul. We have a Persona Ride for next turn. Let's draw some another card, because we kind of need it right now. We have 1 face-up damage. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else I can do right now. I don't think so. I guess what I can do is this. Just to have a bigger beat stick. Now we'll go skill. Retire that. Power plus 10k, plus 1 crit. Alright, these guys have plus 10k on them. And now we go battle phase. Swing, skill, plus 10k to the front row. Alright, that's a good number. Alright. And now they're using the grade 2 to draw an extra card, which is kind of cool. Alright, Twin Drive. First check. Ooh, that's a critical. Guess we'll go here for that. And then second check. Alright, now we're gonna go... It's funny, because if I didn't get that critical, I would have just not given them any damage. But... I want to see what happens here. If they block this, I'm not swinging with this. So that puts them up to 33. Okay, and then pass turn. By doing this, they can't do anything. They basically have a Vidilla turn. And I'm actually going to swap this out now. They have no extra drive checks. The Vanguard can't call anything out. The Vanguard's a 10k. So 2 to pass. Never mind, we lose. Critical. I hate OTs, man. Can I come back from this? Do not know. Thanks, shield. Then, thankfully for this, we have a PG. So, and then we'll ditch the grade 2. This way we have Persona Rod, we have our grade 1 again, arm back. Man, OTs are rough. And of course, we would draw hearts for turn. Why wouldn't we? You know, it just had to happen. Just had to happen. Skill. Into the soul. Add our axe back to hand. Bavsargra skill. Soul Blast 2. Retires the front row. She gets a crit. Now we're going to arm the X. Bavsargra skill, soul charge 1. We're actually going to call this guy. And then skill, send back Bavsargra. And Holly Badger to draw another card. I guess that was okay. Now front row gets power plus 10. And then we go battle phase, skill, power plus 10 to the front row, and swing. All right, first check, front trigger, second check, critical. Let's go. 3 damage, baby. So they get an automod gauge, they're getting another 5k. Again, they get another automod gauge. GG. They had to chance the damage because I wasn't going to give them a damage unless I absolutely had to. Like, the only way I was giving them damage is if I was going for game. Like, if I had hit a crit there, I would have swung with one of the rear guards to give them 1 damage, and then that's all they get to play with. And then I would have swung with a crit to go for a game. These columns were still 58 and 60, so even still, with them at 33, that's a 20? That's a 30k guard on the left and a 40k guard on the right. Here's another look at that deck, guys. That game did not go my way at all, especially with them hitting the over trigger. I played pretty well defensively. I didn't get to use the grade 2 nearly as much as I wanted to, but it's because I had the 2 Divshtias. Against a deck that would have killed my front row, having these guys would have been great because I was arming every turn. So energy blasting 3 to call them out. I had 6 energy that I was just sitting on in case I needed it. I ended up using the 7 to draw a card because I didn't need to call these guys out with the double Divshtias that were just powering up my front row. It's a solid card. It's a great way to thin out the deck. And as long as you play with the extra cards to grab stuff back from the drop zone, it becomes a really good way to search out your pieces. But let me know what you guys think of the deck. Again, this was just me experimenting and I'm really, really enjoying it. I've been able to beat some decks I never thought I'd beat. Like, I actually beat a Blankmeyer deck because of the shield. It was kind of crazy. But if you guys want to see more of this, or if you guys want to see me play it live, come over to the Twitch stream. I stream Vanguard every Tuesday. This Tuesday is probably going to be a little bit later, but keep an eye out on the YouTube channel or on Twitter and for when I make an announcement of that. If you guys want to check me out on social media, those links are down below. That is it from me. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.